Yesterday on 3 Sport, we're rocking the hard place with the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship Round 2. It's Rally Otago, where this weekend the action will be for awesome. I'm Clint Brown. Glad you could join us on 3 Sport for the highlights coming up in the next hour. Plenty of drama too in the build-up. In the red corner for Mitsubishi, Mark Tapper arrives in the Deep South with a broken leg and will be racing this weekend, trying to defend his lead in the series. In the blue corner for Subaru, Chris West is number 1 on the road as the defending champion, but he's back in 4th place overall. And while the drivers will get to see lots of the great Kiwi countryside this weekend, our very own Abby Scott has been checking out the sights and sounds of downtown Dunedin, as you do in Scarfy Land.
Thanks, Clint. I'm here in the Octagon, the heart of Dunedin City. From its Scottish heritage, Dunedin's come a long way and is now bustling with many cafes, bars and restaurants. But that's not all Dunedin's famous for. Apparently, when you come to Baldwin Street, this is what you do with Jaffas. And hope not to take any runners out in the process. So girls, why are you running up this hill?
Oh, it's good fitness.
So tell me a bit about that T-shirt. Where's that from?
From Gardy's.
Which is?
A local student pub.
Popular place?
Very popular. Yeah.
Right, well, we better go and check it out. Tell me a bit about Gardy's. I've heard a bit about it.
It's okay, it's not as good this year because they don't have 2 old drinks.
Do you do any study? You know, you're here at Otago University, I take it?
I've failed a few papers.
What's happening this weekend, as far as sport's concerned, in Otago?
Really, Dunedin? I got a little pamphlet.
Can you tell me a bit about it?
It's just a little yellow piece of paper.
And when they're not getting drunk, they're here, learning at Otago University, the oldest university in New Zealand. So there you have it, Dunedin, which by the way is the Gaelic word for Edinburgh. And I bet you didn't know that this railway station is the most photographed building in New Zealand.
Good skills, Abby, and from one great southern landmark to another, from the railway station to the service park here at Lake Waihola. Now, the big change for this year's Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship, no more Group A cars, all production cars. So what does that mean, and how do they compare with your average road car? Let's find out. With our man on the spot, here's Roger.
Now, what is the difference between a production rally car and a normal standard road car? We'll start off with the brakes. The brakes are very, very similar. The only difference that the rally car's got is it's got slightly different pads. If we look at the suspension of the 2 cars, obviously the rally car has got more upgraded suspension for the rough terrain, as opposed to the road car that's a little bit softer. So basically the 2 cars are very similar up to that stage. Until we have a look inside the cockpit, and hello, the first thing you notice is it's actually the steering wheel is on the left-hand side of the car. The other thing that is inside here is a total roll cage, so it's totally different to a road car, with the rally seats, the seat belts and all the safety apparel. There's fire extinguishers. The gearbox is a close ratio gearbox as opposed to the road car, which is a normal standard one. And the close ratio gearbox, every time he changes gear, gives them extra power, immediate power.
Based south of Dunedin, the morning stages start at Whare Flat, then move to the longer Big Bush stage. Then it's a break before heading to Berwick Forest. Next stage is Fort Hill before they return to Big Bush in the afternoon. Mark Tapper arrives in Dunedin leading the champs, and with 64 points up for grabs over 2 days at Otago, his chances of staying in front look good. But a freak accident 2 weeks prior to the rally have left him with a broken leg.
Yes, there's a little bit of pressure going in as the leader, but I've always got my leg as an excuse for maybe coming away, not leading. But I think all we need to do is be in the top 4 or 5, and we'll come away from this rally leading. So obviously I don't need to go out there and try and win it either.
But at the end of stage 1, Tapper comes close to disaster in a concrete Ford. Tapper recovers to complete the stage in 6 minutes 46. Chris West is defending New Zealand champ and had shown stunning speed on round 1 at Rally New Zealand in his Subaru. But a mechanical failure there had seen him finish with only 32 points from the first leg and nothing from the second.
You know, it was unfortunate. It's one of those things. I don't think we've had a breakdown as such for 2 or 3 years. So it happens. It's rallying, and we're confident that all the problems have been fixed, and we're looking forward to 32 points each day would be absolutely fantastic.
Unlike Tapper, West takes a conservative line through the Ford. He finishes the stage in 6:37, so already is 10 seconds up on Tapper. But on this cold morning, they would both have to take a back seat to Richard Mason. The Subaru driver had missed round 1, but has put together a new sponsorship package to complete the remaining rounds. His time through the stage was 6:34, giving him a 3.4 second lead over West on his return to the championship. It was Dunedin driver Emma Gilmore who'd take 4th with a time of 6:52. Gilmore has plenty at stake, having been second in the championship going into this rally.
Yeah, it's always a nice thing to come to your home event with points on the table, so it's a lot more than you ever sort of hope for, you know. I think championships, when you go to chase them, they never seem to work out, as in when you just go out and drive, it might come to you. So.
That new confidence in her driving shows as she leads the rest of the top 10. All the drivers separated by just 22 seconds. Martin and Marty Rostenberg were virtually tied for 5th, but the young Taihape driver had the edge by just 0.4 of a second. Rostenberg could be forgiven for making a conservative start. The team had faced a $25,000 repair job after he crashed on Propecia Rally New Zealand. Sam Murray made a great impression in the 2004 championship, finishing top rookie and gaining a couple of podium places. But that had been in a powerful Group A car. In 2005, his ride is a Subaru WRX production car.
The car's heading in the right direction. It's just me that needs a little bit of work now. So did a couple of days testing after Rally New Zealand and sorted a few things out. So yeah, as I say, it's just up to me now.
So he was starting afresh, still trying to find the right handling combination in the car. His time 24 seconds slower than Mason on stage 1. That means his work is cut out for the day ahead. Dunedin driver Tom Pritchard has a new car for 05, but he lacks the experience of many of the top 10 drivers. He was 31 seconds off the pace. Glenn Smith's another driver having mixed success in adapting to the production car. Less power means drivers have to carry more speed into corners. His time of 7 minutes 12 seconds gives him 9th place. The 10th position would be the Kiwi 2 car of Dave Strong. This is where the championship starts for the smaller cars, as they were ineligible for Rally New Zealand. The cars are 2-wheel drive, less than 10 years old, with engines up to 2.5 litres normally aspirated, and they must come from the same manufacturer as the car.
I think the goal's to win. I should have won the championship last year. I let myself down a few times, so that's what I'm here to do.
So the top 5 then, with Mason, West, Tapper, Gilmore and Martin leading the way. If stage 1 had been a 10k warm-up, now the serious rallying begins with nearly 40 k's through Big Bush before the first service at Waihola. Chris West would have known that he'd been beaten on stage 1. That alone would be motivation to step up the pace. But he would also be aware that he needs every point he can grab this weekend to get back in touch with Mark Tapper for the championship title. The 38k stage carries a huge variety of surfaces, from these open ultra-fast straights
short 6 left on crest, tightens into 4 left minus and tightens very long,
to twisty forestry roads. And then to cap it off, tight, narrow grass tracks like this, which nearly sees West's demise. Survive he did, and finished in 21 minutes 31 at an average speed of 107 k's an hour. Richard Mason runs just 6 minutes later through the stage. He had to contend with heavy rain and dropped 14 seconds on West, falling back to second place. In third, Mark Tapper has changed his driving style to compensate for his broken right leg.
As you can see there, Mark is very, very relaxed in the car, but in this event he's had to change his driving style due to his leg problem, and he's using his left foot there to change with the brake and the clutch. And that may be a disadvantage for driving a road car, but it's a major advantage once a rally driver has mastered that, and will make him go a lot quicker.
21.46, it's a better time. He's now third, 26 seconds behind West. Emma Gilmore continued her early pace in fourth, but while she was only 15 seconds down on Tapper, it was 40 seconds to leader West after just 2 stages. After a messy run through stage 1, Sam Murray was back to speed. He gained 2 places here to move into the top 5, just 12 seconds behind Gilmore. Murray's pace had come at a cost to Brett Martin, who was only 7th fastest on the stage to drop to 6th overall. Well, Tom Pritchard was just 1.5 seconds behind him in 7th. Rostenberg was the other driver to lose out on the stage, dropping from 6th to 8th, a further 10 seconds back. And here, Glenn Smith closing behind, just 5 seconds back. That meant between 5th and 9th place there was just 30 seconds.
Right over crest.
Enjoying a bit of airtime, Dean Sumner had also increased his pace after a sleepy stage 1. He was now in the top 10, overtaking the Honda of Dave Strong. So heading into service at Waihola for the first time, it's West with a 10-second lead over Mason. Then Tapper, Gilmore, Murray, Martin, Pritchard and Rostenberg.
Tuesday. And although heavier than his radical Honda Jazz from last year, it seems well suited to the task. After 2 stages, he led the class and was 11th overall. James Holder had his little Toyota Levin up to 14th place and second Kiwi. Another class rookie, John Roberts, had his Proton Mirage 30 seconds back in third, 6 seconds ahead of the distinctive bright orange Jungle Coffee Pulsar of Shane Watkin. His crew were being kept busy supplying hot cups of the sponsor's product back in the service park, while Shane was busy trying to catch the leaders. Reese Musson, another new face in Kiwi 2, and another new car. And a new car for 2004 champion Jason West, who takes over the Suzuki Ignis run by Emma Gilmore in Targa NZ. Amazingly, the only changes to the little tarmac Terra were to bolt on rally tyres and mud flaps. Nick Marshall would only get to stage 2 before the gearbox in his radical Peugeot 106 cried enough for the weekend. James Hancock was having a troubled run in his new Honda Integra, the car not yet at its full potential. Chris Lang had another Mirage for his rookie season. And then a legend of New Zealand motorsport, making his return to championship rallying after nearly 20 years, Reg Cook.
There's 40 more kilometres over 2 stages before the next service, so expect plenty of changes in the top 10 before the cars return to base. Out front, it was more of the same for Chris West. The winger Subaru driver had the bit between his teeth and won both stages over Richard Mason. There is no sign of the lack of confidence in his left-hand drive Subaru, which had dogged him through 2004.
Chris West took a long time to get used to the left-hand drive car, but as you can see now, he's really getting the hang of it. And with the driver and co-driver working very well together, this combination has been together for 3 years now, and that's why they're the current New Zealand champions.
Mason would have to settle for second, now 25 seconds back. But remember, a puncture in a stage can cost a driver up to 3 minutes, so this was by no means over for the day. Mark Tapper came to Dunedin with a broken femur in his right leg, but the young Manukau driver had fought off the pain to stay in touch. So it was ironic then that it was his over-exuberance through this Ford which would be his downfall.
What's happened here is Mark's hit the water a little bit too fast, which has sucked water up into the engine bay. Worst scenario, it could have got inside the engine and destroyed the motor, or just got into the electrical side of the motor car. Either way, it's going to be very frustrating for Mark.
That delay would drop Tapper from 3rd to 14th and led to question mark over whether the engine had been damaged. But by stage 4, the car was back to full pace. Tapper had his fingers crossed. Emma Gilmore took 3rd, but on stage 4 through Fort Hill, she slowed enough to allow Sam Murray to close within 6 seconds.
The stage has a lot of crest, very typical of the roads in Otago, and requires absolute commitment by the driver to believe the post note's been delivered by the co-driver. In this case, Emma wasn't slow, but Sam Murray probably drove with a lot more commitment.
5 left to 60. 2 right, 250.
From Tom Pritchard in 5th to Brett Martin in 8th, there was just 7.3 seconds. With Pritchard and Martin both just second-year drivers, they were being hounded by experienced campaigners Glenn Smith and Marty Rostenberg. It's a battle that would rage all rally long. Smith was the real mover in these stages, from 9th to 7th, and scoring top 5 times on both. But he was still 5 seconds adrift of Marty Rostenberg, who in turn was just 0.7 of a second back from Pritchard by the end of stage 4. But Brett Martin was by no means out of it. In 8th place, just 1.7 seconds back from Smith. So at the halfway point of day 1, Chris West is now at a commanding 25-second lead over Richard Mason. But Tapper is out of the top 10. Emma Gilmore and Sam Murray are the big winners.
I find it difficult going back to the organisers' notes after riding my own at Rally New Zealand, and it was very, very cresty. It was very heavily gravelled, so it was a very fine line where you had to be, and I just wasn't committed enough over the crests and just losing time. So, yeah.
I think Emma had a bit of trouble in there, and those fast stages that sort of hurt us to the front lot because we're just not confident still. That it's just being safe doesn't really pay off in those fast stages. You lose a lot of time. So we're going into these this last one now, which is our sort of a chance to. There's about 5 seconds between Emma and myself, so chance to claw that back and hopefully get 3rd.
Did you have a problem in that stage earlier? I think you dropped down to 14th overall.
Yeah, through the Ford, I just should have backed off a bit more. Didn't think about how much rain there's been since yesterday, and car swallowed some water, and it stopped, and it took sort of 5 minutes to get going. We had to get out, take the air filter out of it, and stuff. It was pretty lucky, really. I thought that the amount of water that went in there, it was pretty lucky it didn't hydraulic the engine.
They are the 4 most important parts on a rally car. The type of tyre, its tread pattern and compound can make more difference to performance than any other changes made to the vehicle. Alistair Corbett of Dunlop explains.
This is the mud tyre here, which, as you can see, compared to the gravel tyre, is much smaller, knobbly blocks and much more open to be able to cut through the mud and get down to the road surface.
One thing that happened this morning is Sam Murray actually ran in the first stage using mud tyres, and he found he lost a lot of time. So the wrong application, they're no good.
That's right. It's really got to be the conditions to suit them. Otherwise, the compromise between that would be to actually cut grooves and widen these grooves up in the gravel tyre if it's not soft enough for a mud tyre.
It was another run through Big Bush, so driver 10th faster, and that was enough to hold on to 9th place.
7 right and 7 left over crest.
Tom Pritchard was another to fall foul of tyre choice, plummeting from 5th to 8th. Brett Martin, one of the drivers to take time out of Pritchard. He climbed 1 place with a time through the stage 24 seconds faster than his morning run. Marty Rostenberg was a whopping 42 seconds faster than his first run, moving into 5th. Glenn Smith, a second faster through the stage, was now just 3.8 seconds behind Rostenberg. With Gilmore dropping back to 4th, Sam Murray moved into 3rd. His time was 27 seconds faster than his morning run. On board, you can see the road conditions are different to the morning, the result of 60 cars tuning up the stage on the first pass through. And with the assurance of his team that the engine in the Mitsubishi was okay, Tapper was back at full pace. Once again, third fastest in the stage and moving up to 11th after his stage 3 disaster. Mason still couldn't beat West, so he had to settle for second again. Although only 6 seconds down on the stage, he was slowly losing touch with West, whose lead was now out to 31 seconds, with just the sprint around the trotting track at Thornbury Park and Dunedin left for leg 1.
Into 7 left 33, right opens 200. 4 left minus 30.
32 points are up for grabs for the day 1 win, and West needed every one of them to take back control of the championship. So with West in the lead, we decided to let Abby Scott lend a helping hand when he got back to service.
Right, well, the guys are giving me some gloves. They've given me this wee machine here, and they've told me that I can change a tyre. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my Subaru hat, make sure I look like part of the team, and when Chris gets in a second, I'm going to try my best to change his tyre. Just like that.
You're going down there.
Not that bad, actually. Look, 3 off. Record-breaking time.
With the boys have the job.
The last one. Oh, I took the money tyre. Not that long. Now.
Thanks very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Look at my pants. Well, there you go. Done my job for Chris West. Changed his tyre, and I must admit, I don't really think I'm cut out for this job. Look at me. Oh well, more practice. Maybe I'll get better at it.
A bit surprising today with Mark's misfortunes in the third stage this morning. So it's definitely shaken the points and so forth up. But if we can get obviously get back to town and do the super special and 32 points more than some of the other guys haven't got, that's for sure.
Sam, it's been a pretty good stage for you. You moved up into third place, the podium.
Yes, very good stage. At the start of it, we weren't going to do anything silly, but about 3 Ks in, the car started to feel good. We made a few changes at the last service, and it's just a matter of fine-tuning it and getting myself in the rhythm a bit better, and we did that.
Emma, looks like on that 35k stage you dropped down to 4th.
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed. We drove really well and just time wasn't there, and it's sort of one of those things, experience and learning. We went out on the wrong tyres and paid the price.
And drama for Leanne Barnes, who left her crew with plenty to do in service after a flat tyre.
We got a flat tyre and tried to drive out on it, and it just exploded going down the straights. Took half all the guards off it. I think it's more cosmetic than what it is actually damage.
The Kiwi 2 battle hadn't changed out front. Strong had dropped back to 13th overall, but still held the class lead over Shane Watkin, who'd moved up past James Holder. But Holder still had his little Toyota in touch, 17 seconds back, with over 2 minutes lead on reigning champion Jason West. The little Suzuki just didn't have the power, and it dropped back on the long stages.
Sunny Sunday for leg 2 of the Otago Rally, round 2 of the Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship. Well, after Chris West and the team from Subaru took out leg 1, today they do it all again. Today, they're now racing for the lead in the overall championship.
There are 7 stages on day 2 and the competition starts afresh with all new points up for grabs. Stage 7 and 8 through Waipori Gorge and Cinnabar are familiar stages on this rally, but for 05 the stages will be run in reverse order. And it's a cold, frosty start for West, who's first on the road. Stage 7 runs alongside a river with shade on the road and a steep cliff on its edge. It's caution to the 4.
4 left plus, very long. And 5 right tightens to 4 right minus. And then opens 80.
But the ice is even worse on stage 8, and West is off the road just 30 seconds from the start. Running first on the road, there are no warning skid marks to show where the ice is. In fact, West is the one leaving the trail of telltale warnings on the road behind him. Defensively then, it's Richard Mason who's fastest, and after 2 stages holds an 8-second lead on leg 2. Mark Tapper was disappointed to finish 11th on day 1, but leg 2 means a fresh set of points up for grabs. Tapper grabs 3rd through stage 7 and looks set to challenge Mason on stage 8. The only thing that can get in his way is the ice. And it does. But with typical Tapper style, there's a great recovery to go with it. He loses only 25 seconds, and now he's 5th overall. Gull was 4th on stage 7, then took over Tapper's 3rd place with a confident run through stage 8. Brent Martin's another one to be consistent through these stages, and he moves into 4th. Sam Murray may look relaxed at the start of stage 7, but there's still plenty to be cautious about.
8 left, 150.
Murray tends to be a driver who starts slow and finishes fast, and it's that way on leg 2. He's 6th for the morning. Glenn Smith had a slow start through the gorge, but blast through the longest cinnabar stage, 4th fastest, hauling himself up to 7th, just 8 seconds ahead of this man, Marty Rostenberg. Rostenberg is already 48 seconds behind Mason after the first 2 stages. Dean Sumner made a great start to be 7th after stage 7.
To 7 left, minus
But all that good work went out the window, along with the pace notes on stage 8.
30 to a sudden 3 right injunction. Right injunction. It's all right, don't worry. 6 left, tightens 4. And 4 left, tightens to a 4. And 4 left.
But Tom Pritchard would go no further than stage 8. He was slow in stage 7, and then, as we see on board with Dean Sumner, was off the road on the ice by stage 8.
6 right. 60, 6 left minus, 100. Just keep it smooth and listen.
And that's allowed Grant Barber to slip into 10th. So on this day, it's Mason who takes the lead over West. Emma Gilmore continuing her good run in 3rd, but Mark Tapper ruining that slide into 5th.
Michelin tyres were, I chose probably compound too hard, but we had a couple of spins in the 2nd stage for a couple of moments, and had to back up on one of them, and you'd lose 30 seconds that easily.
And the conditions are obviously a lot different than what we had this morning, yesterday morning, opposed to this morning. It's a bit of ice out there, and yes, pretty slick.
Being one on the road, is that a disadvantage this morning?
Yeah, I think, like I was talking to Richard before at the control, and yeah, we seem to think it probably is. With the shingle and the bit of ice that was around in there, it it takes a wee bit to get the bite down and obviously find a bit of a base on the road.
Richard, looks like it's been a pretty good morning. You've taken the rally lead.
Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to do. Second day was to try the best that we can, hopefully within our abilities, and not put it off the road. So we're going to try and continue with what we're doing now.
The motto for this year's Parker NZ New Zealand Rally Championship is rockin' the hard place. And as you can see, some of the crews are doing it real tough. And out on the stages, there's a whole group of people who are just as dedicated.
I've come up here to one of the favourite quarters of Stage 3 of Day 2 of the Otago Rally to speak to some of the spectators who've braved the Otago cold to come and check out their favourite rally drivers. So just tell me, why did you brave the Otago cold? Why are you out here?
It's not cold. It's a lovely day, and it's the best way to see motorsport.
What do you think of the rally so far?
Oh, it's terrific. Us three over here, we're from the big island west of here. Australia, I think you guys call it. We've come over here to
what they don't call it.
entertain ourselves with one of Bryce's cars here, but we've had a couple little moments and problems with it, but otherwise fantastic.
What are you out here doing at the moment?
Well, we're watching the car racing because our dad's souped up a car.
Who are you out here supporting in the cold?
Mark Tapper and Tom Pritchard.
And they've gone past?
Tom won't be going past, no. He had a bit of an unfortunate time in the previous stage, but Mark's been past and we're very happy with the way he's going.
What did you used to race?
I had an Escort.
And how did it go?
Oh, they were good fun, yeah. Excellent fun, but I couldn't drive it as well as these guys are driving their cars.
So the crowd was enjoying themselves, but what about the drivers? Stages 9, 10 and 11 are grouped together, so there's a total of 40 kilometres over roads along the South Otago coast. Out front, Richard Mason kept the pressure on the rest of the field, taking 4 seconds lead in both stages 9 and 10. That gave him an overall lead of 16 seconds for the leg. West seems to be the only driver capable of matching Mason for pace. But remember, he doesn't need to be first in the rally to be first in the race for the championship, because Mason missed round 1. So West is more worried about staying ahead of Mark Tapper. West has more than driving skill on his side. It looks like he's got a fair share of luck as well.
4 right plus 50.
And to prove it, watch this.
5 right. 150. 3 right long. Open.
And if Chris West wonders where his extra luck came from, maybe it was Sam Murray.
Race 180.
Watch here as he hits a rock and punches.
4 right plus 80. How far to go? 2K. You're a puncture. Yep.
Luckily, Murray didn't have to stop, so he didn't lose a whole lot of time, but it was enough to drop Murray back into 7th behind Glenn Smith. Smith was finally starting to put in a string of consistent fast times. In fact, was 3rd fastest on stage 10. Now was just 7 seconds down on this man, the 5th place, Brett Martin. Martin slipped back from 4th to 5th on stage 9, but responded on 10 to stay within 10 seconds of Mark Tapper. After his spin in the morning, Tapper was desperate to get back into the top 3 and stay in the lead of the championship. He was flying in stage 10, but that was only good enough for 5th place on the stage, and he still remained 5 seconds away from Emma Gilmore, who was 4th overall. Meanwhile, Gilmore was 4th fastest on 9 and 6th on 10, but such was the fast pace of the leaders that she'd lost 37 seconds to leader Richard Mason on just 2 stages.
The battle for Kiwi 2 honours was being led again by Dave Strong in the Honda Civic. He was fastest on all 4 morning stages and posted 10th fastest overall on stage 10. But on this day, Shane Watkin had picked up the pace, and while he didn't have the speed to stay with Strong, he had put himself into a dominant 2nd position, 42 seconds clear of young rookie James Holden.
Coming up at 4, it's WRC Shakedown as Neil Cole and the team from WRC TV bring you their take on Rally Italy Sardinia. And don't forget, at 5, Rugby First. Oscar Kitely and our panel of rugby heavyweights check out the best action from last night's 2005 Rebel Sports Super 12 final between the Crusaders and the Waratahs.
The final stage in this group, Macintosh Road, is a classic Otago stage, starting at Brighton on the ocean side and featuring a giant jump near the end of the stage. And blasting off first was Chris West. Go.
5 left minus into 4 right minus 100.
Now, a very unusual section in this stage, a little bit of tarmac as they come up to this very tricky left-hand corner. Now, you can't get the car too far over the left. Yes, Westy got through there okay as he makes his way up the hill. As you can see, the car's getting a little bit sideways as he's coming to this corner, understeering in, understeer, gets it out, comes out of that corner okay. Oh, Westy's got a little bit wide there, but he's really trying. Now watching over this hill, will he lift or hold it flat over the hill? Just a slight confident lift and he's over. Next we've got Mark Tapper. Now let's compare Mark Tapper with Chris West. He comes into the left-hander. Up on the left, seems a little bit slower as we watch him through this section. Now it's quite noticeable that Mark's probably a little bit smoother than Chris West. As Mark Tapper's a lot smoother through that corner than what Chris West was. Now going over this jump, will Mark Tapper brake? A little bit of a lift there and straight down. Now it doesn't look that steep on camera, but I can assure you inside the car it's very steep. Rally leader Richard Mason over the jump. He's airborne there. That's commitment for you. He's driving very hard. Into this left-hander. And Richard nudges the rock on the inside. And we have the perfect view for this left-hander. And it's Sam Murray going through the corner there. And one of the problems Sam has had through the rally is handling problems. The car stepping out like it has just there. It stepped right out on him. And that's not really doing his confidence a lot of good. As you can see there, the car's not too bad working through that section as he comes over this crest. And he held it flat through there, so that must be good pace notes. Emma Gilmore comes through the corner. She's dropping that car down on the left-hand side because the corner's been opened by the other drivers as she makes her way up the hill. Nice and smooth through there. Although the car stepped right out there on that left-hander. Once again, it's understeering, oversteering out of the corner. Emma's got a few handling problems. Next on the track is Glenn Smith, and as you can see through here, Glenn's got a bit of pace on, and he's keeping the car very nice and smooth. Last year, Glenn, when he ran the Group A car, was very sideways, but he's realised with these Group N cars, you must keep them straight and carry huge momentum through the corners, and he's just starting to get the hang of it.
So despite winning the stage, Chris West still is 15 seconds back from Mason. A gap of 50 seconds back to third, though, and look how close the battle is, just 60 seconds separating third to eighth.
Chris, we're about two-thirds of the way through the day. You're still down there on second. I think you actually won that last stage.
Only just, though, again. Yeah, it's getting pretty close. Like, Richard's pulled away today, and there's not much we can do about it, really. I think maybe, in hindsight, we should have taken a wider tyre through those last three, but, we're reasonably happy. It's a good race. We're fighting good.
The next stage is 40 k's long, and it's one that Westy really likes, so we'll be just trying to hold him off on that one, and I doubt that we'll win the stage, but if we can just hold him off enough to take the day, basically, then we'll be happy.
One big gravel stage to go, 42 kilometres. You're 5 seconds ahead of Mark Tapper. Can you hold him out?
Yeah, 5 seconds. I wouldn't say it's a comfortable 5 seconds. We'll just do what we can do, but, it's a long stage and anything can happen, as was proved last year. We had a gearbox fail, so we just hope we have a good, clean run.
You're only 5 seconds behind Emma, and you've got 42 Ks. Do you think you can do it?
I'd hope so.
So everyone hoping to get ahead on this 42k Berwick Forest stage, and the conditions couldn't be better. Chris West is the first car through the stage, and he looks fast here at the end. The question is, though, will his time of 25 minutes 14 seconds be enough to haul in Mason? West has been muscling his way through the stage. As he pulls up, we discover he's broken his gear stick like he did last year.
How far through when that gear stick broke?
Probably about halfway, so we lost a lot of time.
Same thing as last year, Chris?
Yeah, unfortunately. I can't believe it, eh? It's crack tested before we came here, and I don't know, maybe I'm too rough on it, eh?
So maybe a lucky break for Mason. He finishes the stage in 25 minutes 23, enough to hold a 6.6 second lead going into the final sprint around the streets of Dunedin.
Richard, looks like you're 9 seconds slower than Westy, but you've still got a 6-second lead on the rally.
Yeah, that's good. Excellent. I can see that Westy was trying hard in that stage. I was just sort of trying to keep an eye on it and not do anything silly. So goes exactly what we wanted to do.
Mark Tapper has driven with his head this weekend, a courageous drive only 2 weeks after breaking his leg when his championship looked lost. He's driven his own pace, and despite a few setbacks on both days, he came through this penultimate stage third fastest, just 15 behind West, and in doing so overtook Emma Gilmore to snatch back third. Smith had a blinder through here, fourth fastest, just 3 seconds behind Tapper, and fast enough to overtake Gilmore for fourth. So a bad stage for Dunedin's Golden Girl. She was 37 seconds slower than Tapper, and at the stage end she realises just what it's cost her.
Yeah, it was a bit loose and it was a bit messy. We sort of fell off the notes for a while as well, so not making excuses or anything, but yeah, it wasn't a great run, but yeah.
Also disappointment for Sam Murray. A damaged radiator in the stage would put him back to last place, despite all his hard work. So Mason hangs on from West, but all the drama is further back. Gilmore down to 5th, Marty Rostenberg out of contention with a puncture, and Grant Barber moving into 8th.
In the Kiwi 2 class, Jason West finished the day in 4th place, ahead of rookie James Holder. Shane Watkin crashed on stage 11, so James Hancock moved into 2nd. But it will be Dave Strong they'll all have to beat this season. 1st Kiwi and 10th outright for the day.
So Richard Mason and Chris West take a victory apiece for the weekend, but the drive of the day goes to Mark Tapper, recovering from that early spin to take 3rd on a tough weekend. Promising results also for both Dean Sumner and Grant Barber in 7th and 8th. But due to better times over the weekend, it's Chris West who gets to spray the Daniel Lebrun champagne. He also moves within 1 point of Mark Tapper for the championship lead. In Kiwi 2, it's Dave Strong who leads after their first round. And Mitsubishi retained their lead in the manufacturers, heading to round 2 in the Rally of Manawatu.
So once again, the Otago rally's been absolutely fantastic, and Roger, it's very tight at the top, and what a great effort by Mark Tapper to come down here driving with a broken leg.
Absolute brave effort, Brownie. Absolute brave effort. He's still leading the championship. But what about Chris West? What a great drive. He won the weekend. He's closed it within 1 point. And Emma Gilmore, the local girl, she's still there in 3rd place. But I'll tell you what, Brownie, the next round is at Wairarapa. And Richard Mason, who won around here, it's his home event, so it's going to be all on for that round.
And Abby, what did you make of your first rally experience?
Well, Clinton, before I headed down, I thought rally drivers, it's all petrol heads and fast cars. And it is to a certain extent, but through being part of it, through being a co-driver, through changing the tyres, through seeing the guys out on the track, I realised they're elite athletes. They're bloody good at what they do. They're passionate about it. And, there's not only guys, but there's girls involved, and it's fantastic to see.
All right. So there you have it. From all the team at 3 Sport, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. We're rocking the hub.